On this episode of Cooking Like Cooking Easy, we're going to prepare a healthy and delicious Tuesday night meal. For dinner, we're going to make a luxurious pork tenderloin stuffed with apples, cinnamon, cranberries. We're going to serve this gorgeous tenderloin with sumptuous roast string beans and silky sautéed yellow squash. And for dessert, a luxurious blueberry raspberry compote served over vanilla frozen dessert. A meal that is big in health, big in flavor, and small in effort, only on Cooking Light, Cooking Easy. We're going to start this great meal with roasted string beans. Now this is a pound of green beans. Buy this in a supermarket. When they come like this. They have these ends on them. We've got to clean that. All we want to do is take a knife and just cut the ends off. That's all we do with them. And we have a clean string bean. String beans are a great vegetable. You can line them up and do them really quick like this, a few at a time. Make your knife, make them nice and even. That's all there is to it. And the next few. But string beans are one of my favorite vegetables too, because there's so many things you can do with them. Now we're going to roast them. And honestly, I've never seen anybody roast string beans. So I thought, well, if no one's ever done it, it's either an original idea or a really bad idea. So we tried it, and it was a great idea. I don't know why no one's done it before. At least no one I've ever seen do it. They're going to come out being so sweet. Because when you roast vegetables, it intensifies the sweetness of the vegetables. So we have here about a pound of green beans. So we're going to take our baking sheet, lay them on the baking sheet. You want to fill a baking sheet up, but you want only one layer. You don't want to bounce them on top of each other, or pile them up or anything like that, okay? We're going to get some olive oil vegetable spray. This is going to keep the fat down. Why take a beautiful, healthy vegetable like green beans and go and put a lot of fat on it and kill the health benefits of it? And then just a little bit of coarse, kosher salt. And you want coarse because it's got a little crunch to it. Just a little bit of that. There we go. And some pepper. You always want pepper. Okay. You want to mix them all together. Use your hands. Your hands, which are impeccably clean. Okay, they're nicely covered with salt, pepper, and oil. You've preheated the oven to 400 degrees because when we roast things, we always want to roast them at a nice hot temperature. That way they don't steam, they actually cook and they get very, very, very flavorful. It just takes the flavor and multiplies it by a factor 2 or 3. Okay, there we are. Now we're going to put these in the oven for somewhere around 8 minutes or so. You still want them to be a little bit crunchy, but they have to be soft. So if they're too soft, they sort of fall over. That's overcooked. It's all right, but they're better when they're just a little crunchy. And what's also interesting about these are great hot or cold. Cold green beans, what a great idea that is. So we have here an amazing, healthy, and easy to prepare vegetable, roasted green beans. Okay, we're going to make the dessert now because we have to bake it at 350 degrees for about 30 minutes, and I want to bring it to room temperature when it's done because we're going to put it on top of some frozen ice cream, frozen yogurt, or maybe some frozen soy dessert. So preheat the oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to take a big bowl and we're going to put in 2 cups of frozen raspberries. You don't need to buy fresh. We're baking it. Why waste your money on fresh? So about 2 cups. And 2 cups of frozen blueberries. It's about 2 cups. Okay. Into this, we're going to put 2 tablespoons of instant tapioca. This is going to help create a nice thick sauce when it's done. A cup of Splenda. And some zest from a lemon. So you want to zest it about maybe a teaspoon, 2 teaspoons of lemon zest. Depends how much you like, basically. Take our handy dandy microplaner. And remember, when you do this, you don't want to get the white, you just want the yellow, because the yellow has all the lemon oils in it, all the lemon flavor. And this is going to really bring a real intense lemon flavor to this. without the bitterness of the lemon. Okay, there we go. Perfect. It's also going to give it a really nice texture. Okay, there we go. Got some on the counter. Let's scrape that up. Okay, now we're going to put a pinch of salt. And you're going to say, salt in a dessert? But salt is important because salt brings out the flavor, all the different sugary substances. So you want a little salt in there. And now the juice of a lemon. So we get our lemon, cut it in half. This is a lemon reamer, you can use this, and you want to strain it because we certainly don't want any lemon seeds or pits in there. So, and you want fresh lemon juice. Please never use a lemon juice that comes out of a plastic lemon or a bottle. It just doesn't taste the same. Fresh lemons are really worth the extra few cents. Just so much more flavor. It's not a lot of work either. I love the smell of lemons. It really brings just a whole level of freshness to a foods. There we go. That's perfect. Okay. We want to mix this together to distribute the sugar and the tapioca and all the juices. This is going to be so good. When it gets in the oven and it gets all bubbly and it gets hot and it gets kind of syrupy, and then we're going to put it on top of that frozen dessert, it's going to be amazing. Your family is going to be so impressed by this. Look at that beautiful berries. Got the red raspberries, the blue blueberries, absolutely gorgeous. Okay, and we're going to pour this into some sort of baking dish, like a little souffle dish or anything that can go in the oven. Get that goodness in there. Oh, man overboard. Okay. Great. Now I'm going to put this in the oven, as I said, for about 30 minutes. Check it after 20 minutes. Get nice and bubbly. Some ovens are hotter than other ovens. When it's done, I'm going to take it out. I'm going to show you how to put on top of the ice cream for dessert. And don't forget, you can get this recipe and all the recipes at our website, www.clce.tv. Now we're going to make a spectacular stuffed pork tenderloin. But we're going to start with the stuffing first because we want to cook it so it cooks fast in the oven. We're going to use apples, cinnamon, and cranberries as our main flavor ingredients. Now when it comes to apples, there's a lot of different kinds of apples you can choose from. There's Empire, Golden Delicious, Red Delicious, Pink Ladies. Use whatever you want to. I like to mix my apples so you get a variety of flavors, a little more depth that way. So we're going to start with a Golden Delicious because this is kind of tart. We're going to peel it first. And a good sharp vegetable peeler is really important to this. As I said, you can use any variety of apples you want to, and it's always a good idea to mix your apples. When you make an apple pie, they always say you're supposed to use 5 different kinds of apples to give real variety to the flavor. We're not making apple pie, we're only using 2 apples, but we use 2 different ones. My mother's great at this. She can take this off in one run. She made a lot of apple pies in her time. I'm not so good at this. There we go, there's one. So this is our Golden Delicious. Clean it off nicely. And let's do Pink Lady. I like Pink Ladies. They're also good for baking. So we start with one up and down strip to give a nice place to start. Go around the apple. I guess you could leave the skin on if you wanted to, but it's kind of tough, I would think, so. It's kind of like mashed potatoes if you leave the skin on. There we go. Ooh, this smells so sweet. This is amazing, this one. Okay, a few more of these pieces and we're almost done. There we go. Oh, right there. Let's see, rust. Get the bottom done. Okay, now we're going to quarter them and core them. You can buy a fancy device that does that. I don't have one of those devices. I guess you can buy one. I'm just going to use a good old-fashioned knife. Okay, there we go. Now, if we let these apples sit out for a while, we want to put some lemon on them because they're going to start browning real fast. We're going to cook these real quickly, so get a knife, cut it down the middle. You cut it down the middle to give you a nice flat surface to do the rest of your cutting on. And cut the core out of the middle. It's like a V cut. See the V there? On that side. Be careful not to kill yourself. There we go. The core's gone. Flat side down. To strips, and we'll do that in half. The nice thing about apples are in season all year long. That's the amazing part about them. Take all this and put it into a saucepan, and into the saucepan we're going to add the rest of the ingredients for the stuffing, which is about half a cup of dried cranberries, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch is going to have a nice sauce out of it. Okay, let's mix this together a little bit so it coats everything. Now we're about to use my favorite kitchen appliance in the world, the stick blender. This is a manly tool. You can get it at different RPMs, different horsepowers. It spins, it chops, it's got different speed settings. You want this on the slowest set you've got. That's too fast, because it'll make everything fly around the kitchen. So we're going to mush all this mixture together, but I don't want it like applesauce. I don't want it where it's too smooth. I still want some lumps because there's some texture in there. It's spinning a little bit already, but that's all right. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to turn the pan on medium. We're going to cook it for about 5 minutes until everything gets kind of hot and bubbly. Cover it up. We're going to stir it every so often. We don't want anything to burn in there. Okay, now it's time to work on the pork. Let me just clean the decks out a little bit. I made kind of a mess with the apples. There we go. There. Okay, now this is a beautiful pork tenderloin. It's absolutely gorgeous. See how lean that is? It's wonderful. But it is kind of thick and it's going to be impossible to stuff the way it is now. So we're going to slice it in half and then we're going to pound it so it's really thin. So take it there. Get a good knife. Now we're going to cut it, but not all the way through. We want to leave about 1/2 inch as a hinge. We can open it up on it. So carefully, we take it and lay it flat with our hand flat on top, so don't cut our hand. Just cut into it. That's all. It's not hard. It's very easy. It cuts very easily. See, it got like a pocket now. We cut a little deeper in there. As I said, we don't want to cut all the way through. A little bit deeper, just like this. Okay, that's perfect now. Okay, now, it's still too thick. It's going to take too long to cook, and it's not going to leave any room to stuff. So, we're going to play games now. We're going to take some plastic wrap, put it on the counter. Okay, lay it on top of the plastic wrap, cover it. I'm going to pound it. Now you can use a pounder like this. This is a meat pounder. And it's great. It's a big flat surface. It's got some weight to it, so you can pound it flat. It's also nicely balanced. You're not going to break the meat. You could use a rolling pin if you had to. I don't like those hammers you use because it's so small the head that you can break the surface and cause all kind of holes and rips. And we don't want to do that. So you want to start from the center and work out. Basically, just going to hit it, not too hard, but reasonably hard. Let's check this. I smell this before we go any farther. Hold on a second. Okay. Perfect. Oh, it smells great. Okay. We can keep pounding this now. We want it about 1/4 inch thick when we're done. About that thick. And the idea is pound from the center out. Okay, perfect. Peel it off, and see what I mean? How much bigger it's gotten? It's perfect this way. Nice and thin. Let's turn this off. The stuffing's done. And let's pour it in the middle. First, let's put some salt and pepper on this too, just so we have a little flavor in here. Not too much, but you have to flavor meat. And this is good, coarse, kosher salt. Kosher or sea salt's great. It doesn't have the bitterness that table salt has. And a little bit of freshly cracked pepper. Now you'll notice we're touching raw meat here, so when we're done with this meat, all this salt and pepper gets disposed of. We don't use it again because we want to cross-contaminate anything. Even though pork is now a safe meat, we still don't want to cause the issues. We have this beautiful stuffing. Look at that, absolutely perfect. Lay it in the middle. God, this is amazing. Look at this, gosh. Okay, absolutely perfect. Now, to make it roll easier and hold it together, we're going to use butcher's twine. You can buy this in the supermarket, you can buy it in a hardware store. What I've done is I've put it in one of these Chinese food containers, a little hole on top so it's easier to pull it out. We'll make about 4 or 5 pieces about this length. Get ourselves a knife here. One. It's so much easier to put it in a container like this than having to deal with the ball rolling on the counter and getting dirty. 3, 4. If you had the scissors, you could do it with the scissors too, but I don't have one out. This is just as easy. Okay, we have 6 of those. Okay, what I do now is we want to roll, using the plastic, let's roll the meat up like a jelly roll. Just like that. Keep the filling as much as you can. See that? Absolutely perfect. Now, I'm going to put some of these lines underneath it without destroying it. It's a little tricky, but we can do it, I'm sure. There it goes. There's 1, 2. This is going to be so moist and delicious when it's done. The stuffing is going to keep the pork moist. Pork, being as lean as it is, can dry out very quickly. That's why you need a nice moist stuffing like this, just to make sure it doesn't get too dry. A few more on this side. If anything comes out, we'll shove it back in. Don't worry about it. Another one. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we take the middle one here. I'm going to show you a trick how to tie this. Make sure this is nice and rolled over now. It's loosened up a little bit. Okay. Take it and do a double loop here. 1, 2, and then tighten it. That'll prevent it from slipping. See how tight it is now? And then just put a knot in that. Same thing over here. Make sure it's tight. Double loop. There we go. And the knot on it. And right here, the final one. Let's tie this in a little bit here. Okay. Some may come out the end, that's life. We'll put one along the end too if we decide we need one. Right there. Here, make sure it's nice and tight. Double loop. There we go. I'm squeezing kind of tight, I know, and stuff's coming out the end, but that's life. Gonna taste good either way. Still gonna taste amazing. Double loop. And a knot. Okay, now, to transfer it carefully to our roasting pan, I'm gonna use this beautiful copper pan. It's one of my favorite roasting pans. We'll cut the ropes when we're done, the strings when we're done. Right now, let's use this plastic still we have. Carefully lift it up with the plastic. And let's cut these strings now. Because we're going to roll it over and it's going to be on the pan in a second. There's one. Two. We're going to have to remember to untie these before we serve it. We don't want our family or guests biting into a piece of butcher's twine. Now you have to use butcher's twine. You don't want to use regular twine. This is designed to be cooked. It has no chemicals that are harmful to consumption. In case you eat some of it, it's not going to poison your food. If you use regular twine, there's all kinds of finishes on it and stuff. We certainly don't want to do that. Okay. And what we do now is we're just going to turn it over in our pan, center it in the pan, and we're done. Absolutely beautiful pork tenderloin. Now we're going to put this into a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes until an internal temperature of 145 degrees. Now in the old days it was 160 degrees, but the USDA recently reduced the temperature to 145 because pork no longer has a trichinosis problem. Trichinosis was a horrible illness you could get from eating pork. So it's absolutely beautiful. Let's throw a little bit of salt on the outside. And as I said, into the oven it goes. So on this episode of Cooking Like Cooking Easy, we made this great pork tenderloin meal. Pork stuffed with apple, cranberry, cinnamon. It's like an apple pie inside pork. And we served it with roasted string beans and sauteed yellow squash. And for dessert, we made a hot raspberry blueberry compote. We're going to serve over frozen ice cream, frozen yogurt, frozen tofu, whatever you want to use. So this is frozen tofu, this is frozen yogurt. We're going to take some, pour it on the top. Wow, doesn't look great? A little on top of the yogurt. It's still hot, it's starting to melt the frozen dessert. And just a little bit of frozen whipped topping on top of that. And there we have it. A great Tuesday night meal. I'm Bob Caputo, Cooking Like Cooking Easy. Ciao, ciao.